Greetings, dear viewer. I am very peeved, and my name's Joe Bob. Welcome back once again, for we are returning to a sea most sunless. But we aren't returning, are we? For this world is not as it was. The Neath has changed. The Untersea, and every power great and small that relies upon it, has been twisted. The truth has been undone. Distrust your every intuition of the way things ought to be, for they will betray you. The seas have changed. Welcome, delicious friend, to Sunless Sea Rewritten. A total conversion mod by one 9 Enneagon? Whatever you wish to call the author of this. We've played around with mods for Sunless Sea before. Good old Sunless Stories and all that jazz. But this is several steps beyond. When I said total conversion mod, I meant total. Every port is changed. Outside of London, they don't even have the same names. Every story is rewritten. Even the enemies. Well, let's just say it's a whole new game. Finally, Sunless Sea 2. I should mention, it's not a completed game, mind. Supposedly, the finished product is gonna come out sometime this year, but I figured, fuck it, why wait? Knowing my schedule, or lack thereof, it'll probably be finished by the time I'm done with all the content. But, without any further ado, let us begin. Oh yes, and being a total conversion mod, obviously the vast majority of other mods are incompatible, so no Sunless Stories, alas. Barring a couple, however. But never mind that. Here we go. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. That, at least, hasn't changed. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to you. Welcome to the Untersea, such as it is. Let's choose a past. As you can see, already things are different. Now you're a captain. Now you belong to the Untersea. But who were you before? A chimney sweep. A lifetime covered in soot gave you the means and motivation not to be seen. Pooling your inheritance, you're ready to step out of the shadows. That's the one that gives bonus to zails. I believe in the original it was a urchin, but things are a little different for the children of fallen London. I don't know if that means more or less urchins, come to think of it. Probably less. An invalid. Illness caught you in your youth, weakening your lungs and limbs alike. Desperation drove you into books, and now, the worst of it over, your scholarly patron has offered you a command. Bonus to pages, always a good choice because it's bloody hard to raise, in the original game anyway, but remember, things are different. Veteran of the campaign of 68, good year. Well, no. Terrible year. You were there when the armies of the Ozal were struck down. Your old captain deceased. It's time for you to take command. Now that's a rather different one than you remember, I'm sure. For one thing, apparently London won. For another, who the hell are the Ozal? Is that even how you pronounce that? A circus performer. You learned how to make audiences laugh, make them swoon. Even now that such things are outlawed, you carry that spark on the Z. Outlawed? Now this is something that didn't pop up in Sunless Sea at all, if I recall. But in Fallen London, well, that was very prominently not the case, let's put it that way. A gardener. Your skill with a blade and trowel have not gone unnoticed. When the Umwelt dynasty rose, they granted you a ship as thanks. Umwelt dynasty. Now what could a gardener do with a blade and trowel that they would give you a ship as thanks? And who the I mean, I know what Umwelt means. It's a German word, meaning surroundings, essentially. More well known for Jakob Johann von Uexküll's use of it to refer to the way particular organisms and species perceive and experience the world. Essentially, the distinct perceptual realities that different creatures with different perceptions inhabit. Isn't that a funny name for a dynasty that most certainly did not exist before things got so twisted? And an heir to a great fortune. You have no particular skills to speak of, nor any close friends to call your own. But fortune has smiled upon you in another way. No bonuses to any skills, but provides a large amount of echoes. I'm not entirely certain how much of a bonus, but unless it's something truly spectacular, it's unlikely to be worth it in the long run. Still, there's merit to it. 25 secrets is a lot to make up for. But it's a lot easier to survive long enough to make up for that if you're starting with hundreds or thousands of echoes rather than 50 that the other ones provide you. At any rate, mirrors is best stat as ever, so let's go with gardener and see what the hell that's about. Your former employer now works under you, at least until you can find someone better. Oh yes, here we go. Plus 25 mirrors. A fastidious gourmet. When nothing is worth cooking, nothing gets cooked. Plus 1 hearts. No one was born a Z captain. Probably. Well, probably no one human at the very least. A bit of echoes and cannonballs. Yes, cannonballs. Just about every weapon in Sunless Sea Rewritten actually costs ammo now. Like torpedo components, they don't use up any of your actual hold space, thankfully. But they do cost you. Especially if you are unfortunate enough to need to reload out at Z and not at London. So yes, make every shot count. Or carry a whole lot of it. Anyway, what does winning mean to you? Sadly, a commission is not actually finished. I'm not really certain why it's actually even selectable, considering you hit a roadblock real early on it. But oh well. It's gonna be finished in the 1.0 release. It's gonna be reworked entirely, called a redemption instead, I think. And yes, there are other ambitions that you can acquire later on, such as this one. And much like here, all of those are completed except one rather secret one. Unfortunately, seeking the truth is not yet possible. Will most likely be the last thing finished. But never mind that. We have a choice between construct a dream device. You awaken in a cold sweat. Shapes and calculations still swirl behind your eyes. You must build what you have seen. You must. Or peace. You've grown tired of conflict. Bring the nations of the Untersee together for good. Or for evil. And yeah, wealth. Boring. The dream device is pretty interesting, but for our first playthrough, let's go with peace. Why not? After all, what better way to introduce you to the New World Order than to take upon us an undertaking that will require us to interact with the disparate powers of the Untersee. Gear up. You've got a job to do. When the Untersee is at peace, you can retire to victory. Easy. Simple. Should just be a minute. Alright. A last scrap of paperwork. Captain! Captain! An irregularity with the Harbour Master's office. They wish to know, what term of address do you prefer ashore? Madame, Sir, Citizen, my lord, my lady, Captain. Captain will do perfectly well ashore as well as at sea, thank you. My dude, it's all good, man. Mistress. Oh my. And of course, you magnificent bastard. Your reputation precedes you. As if there's any other choice. Very well then. Don't mind all of this, it's not important. Okay. This, why not? And Joe Bob, as usual. Uh-oh. Okay, phew. Bit worried there. There's well, you'll see. One of the hazards of this mod is that there's unfortunately a few crashing hazards. There's custom music, you see. You may have noticed already. I normally don't have it installed because of the aforementioned crash hazard, but for a proper experience for you, dear viewer, I shall just have to stomach the risk. Oh well. Anyway, Fallen London. Deep, dark, and marvelous. Anyway, just grab the usual starter stuff. Poem for Captains. This strangely bound tome has no listed author. A selection of Nathi poems lie within. Let's see. The history of the Nath. 5 nations fell beneath the broken earth, the last upon the ruins of the old. The shogunate to London once gave birth, and conflict turned to struggles for their gold. And then, riding atop a mighty beast, the dread Ozao came crashing across the sea. Flesh shapers from the scorned and broken east, their god made war with all that he could see. Till Gabriel, that serpent out of space, came from his gate and warmed us with his breath. From plants he birthed a new and mighty race, and dueled the god of war until his death. Factions apart, a coldness steady reigns. 3 children left to guide all that remains. Until the god of war's death, or until Gabriel's death? Both, perhaps? From plants he birthed a new and mighty race, huh? I'm guessing that would be the Umwelt. Worms. An account of the new gods of the Z. The new gods of the new Z, I suppose. The eldest worm. The great and mighty sleet. Rains from the roof. That hunger way up high. That endlessly consumes still living meat. To save the shield between us and the sky. The middle child, Lord Silver, skims the waves. To make us prosper through his noble banks. With all his wealth he yet invests and saves, and gives back all that glitters as his thanks. And lastly, secret shade sleeps down below, in places disparate and dark as tar. Her methods lost to darkness long ago, she yet protects us thankless from afar. Above, below, and all between they reign, until our kind can stand alone again. Even the flesh shapers, race from plants, some manner of archangel, serpent out of space, birthing new gods. The cities, an account of London and what came before. Starvation took the first, a useful king, defied his gods and brought them into hell. The second dared to cut a fatal string, and climbed upward even as it fell. The third and fourth were taken down by pride, their leaders humbled, sought another world. To conquer, new horizons, time to hide, and came to clash as all their plans unfurled. The fifth you know, it sits atop the pile, convinced its structured reign shall never end. The queen gave in to save a life a while, and seeks escape, her treason to amend. And of the sixth, no one can justly say, save that the Neath grows colder every day. Have those previous cities too been changed? Hard to say, vague as it is. Climbed up skyward even as it fell. What is... A dirty limerick scrawled in the margins. Who put this here? There once was a wicked young mistress, with the best set of tits you could witness. She grabbed her man's head, soared him to her bed, and swiftly she got down to business. Okay. I don't know how relevant that is to the deeper mysteries. For all I know, it's the most relevant. I don't know. Okay then. See ya. You can do just fine without it. Thank you very much. It's worth how much? Well, that is what it is sold for. Who can say what it is worth? Okay. As you may have noticed, I've uninstalled the Submariner expansion. This mod is also not compatible with it at all. So, where to begin then? Well, I guess we can go to the empty embassy to get started on our ambition. I'm sure if we just go knocking on there, we can get all this settled right quick. During wartime, this building was heavily guarded, rumored to be home to secret meetings between great military minds. Presently, the great doors hang open, and an apathetic consul is the only face within. Speak of plans for a peace summit. Your work begins here. If you cannot convince this agent of London, you won't be able to convince anyone. Hey, want peace? Signifying nothing. You make your case with fire and passion. London festers under a veil of paranoia. The shogunate and the Ozal hunger to resume old conflicts. The Umwelt dynasty? Well, no one really knows what they're up to, but their meteoric rise is of concern to everyone. Something has to be done before everything falls to chaos once more. Your words are met with cold indifference. And what authority has an amateur sea captain to dictate national policy? The consul asks. None, I should think. Come back with the letters from an admiral, or don't come back at all. Well, if he insists. Or, alternatively, convince the apathetic consul to get to work with a substantial bribe. If this won't spur him to action, he must be truly incorruptible. That is not the impression he gives off. Anyway. Passenger. Someone in the docks wants to board your ship. Agree to carry the burly twins to Sanguine Island. It's not far and the pay is good, but the choice of location is giving mini-captains pause. This quest may lead you down a dark path of much danger and little reward. It will be a good idea to look elsewhere. Certainty of death? Small chance of success? What are we waiting for? Welcome to board. They storm aboard with a large trunk each, shoving sailors aside. Already your crew are giving you worried looks. Our first terror. Good time. Bound for Sanguine Island. Welp. Something tells me... Well, it's called Sanguine Island. You can guess what something tells me. At any rate, let's see if anything's different here. News from home. Another expedition into the inverted quarter. What? Has ended in tragedy. Mr. Wines is hosting yet another naming party for factory-made children. The Department of Lies has reported a new approval rating of 140%. There's been a rash of mysterious escapes from New Newgate Prison. Is that important, or is that just a reference to all the people that have escaped it to start a new game in Fallen London? Anyway. Ooh. Missionaries. Speak to Sunshade missionaries. You have seen their flyers and pamphlets. Now 2 well-dressed mechanical men, the clockwork catechizers. Is that how you pronounce that? Hang on, let me double check. Now, catechizers are knocking at your door. Sunshade missionaries. Is that shade from the sun, or some sort of paradoxical existence where the sun is shading you? One way to find out. An oxymoron? It's a rationalist religion, says one of the clockwork men. All the evidence is available for review. Come to Sunshade Redoubt and see the Dusk Machine, our Lord and Savior, for yourself. The what? The Dusk Machine? A rationalist religion? Did June actually succeed in this history? If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, June of the Calendar Council of Revolutionaries was one of, or maybe even the, key figure in the creation of the Dawn Machine. But that's not what it was meant to do. That's not what it was meant to be. What it was meant for... Well, what it was meant for is something that would be more likely to be called the Dusk Machine. And as for rationalist religion, well, how much of an oxymoron that is depends on how much you know about what rationalist even means. And of course, what is meant by religion. The missionaries have much more to show you if you're willing to entertain them. Shut the door on them. You hear enough, unwillingly, from hacks, whacks, and quacks on London streets. You will not hear more in your own home, gosh, gods darn them. You don't see the point of buying property if you can't keep idiots out of it. Or have the clockwork catechizers stay for tea. It's at least good manners to accommodate them. Sure, why not? I think... Hold on, let me double check my files. Yes, I've got my own little wiki of sorts. Right, there's going to be a legacy item related to this storyline, but as of yet, this storyline remains incomplete. Still, we might as well hear them out. They make a good case. We proselytize door to door, not because, like in some other religions, we believe it will grant us salvation in some future life. No, we go door to door because we have already received our salvations. Heaven is a place on earth, I guess. Or a state of being. We want others to know they can be saved in life too. The Dusk Machine is generous. They pass you a sheaf of papers. You can tell immediately that these outshine the standard sidewalk preacher's pamphleteering. The first page has 3 statistic-filled tables and cold academic accounts of experiments related to divine experiences. The text is ludicrously well-sourced, and even supposedly peer-reviewed, a show of true scientific seriousness. Peer-reviewed, huh? I wonder how that would even work. We gave our souls to the Dusk Machine, and it gave us souls that burn 1,000 times more brightly. I can feel so much more than I felt as a human man. All I had to let go of was my attachment to skin and flesh. These new souls shine so much brighter. They struggle to acclimatize to those traditional frames, you see, but that is of no concern. The artificers of Sunshade Redoubt give to all clockwork bodies that can contain our new souls, letting us live as long as if we were still human. Like, what does that even mean down here, as long as if we were still human? That's a very loose time frame down here. If death still works anything like it did in the original history, or at least the previous history. That being said, me to burn 1,000 times more brightly. That is interesting. In any other setting, that would just sound like regular sort of euphemistic, vague bullshit about transcendence or whatever. But this is the world of Fallen London, of Sunless Sea. That has a rather more concrete meaning. Because light is law. The light of the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. That is the light of a soul. A great, big, burning soul. That is what a star is. What a judgment is. And every soul gives light, gives law. If the world was as dark as it was before the judgments, then every man would create his own law, his own... But the light of the judgments is so much brighter. And so it is the reigning order of reality. The Dawn Machine, in the previous history, was an attempt to contest this. A failed attempt. It was a deranged creature. But the Dusk Machine... The Dusk Machine is giving them souls that burn 1,000 times more brightly. These clockwork catechizers. Are they a force being built to challenge the light of the sun? To challenge the light of the stars? This sunshade religion, this Dusk Machine, this is all just the original purpose of the Dawn Machine, writ large, disseminated and decentralized across every ensouled creature willing to partake in the liberation. Isn't it? A rationalist religion, they say. Yes. The kind of rationality of men who saw the vast depravity of the law of this world, and turned a theological problem into an engineering one. That is a very interesting thought. Unfortunately, like I said, this storyline is not very finished. But one day we'll see. One day we'll be able to go to Sunshade Redoubt to begin our transformation. But never mind that. Let's see. The old Magnanary, somewhere not far from Homewaters. Magnanary, huh? That's a sericulture institution. Silk farming, for those unaware. Normally that would refer to silkworm rearing, but... Is this any different? Ask the scholar about the whisper-locked box. Ah yes, that. They redid this whole quest line, and it's a bit more tricky to do now, but honestly a lot more worth doing. In the original game, it just, getting to the end of this just got you some valuable loot, and an interesting story, to be fair. Here though, well, you'll see. Cobweb light silver tumblers will align if the words are right. But what are the words? Perhaps the makers of the box will know. I have an idea where it's from, but it's a long way there, and I may be wrong. So perhaps... I rather like the box. Perhaps you should simply sell it to me. No thanks. Not for 1,000 echoes, and certainly not for 100. Sunshade Redoubt, I'd say. Hear the ticking as it turns? This box was once a timepiece, or some equally complex measuring device. Only a clockwork craftsperson has so delicate a hand. And if they didn't build it, well, I'd imagine they'll be just as interested in learning who did. Sunshade Redoubt. Second time we've heard that name. Far south. Where in another history a geode was. Gonna want to hire on a bit more crew. I don't know why it starts you with 8 out of 10. I guess to teach you how to hire on more crew, maybe. Offer passage to a remarkably clean miner. A worker will pay to be taken south. Through the infernal canal to Dis. The what canal? It's been harder to find work as the cities become more self-sufficient. More and more are fleeing London to the mines of Dis, or the plant colonies even further afield. South, huh? That's another thing south. Fancy that. Gather intelligence. Someone will want to know. Port report. Fallen London. It's home, but that doesn't make it family. Secretive scrawlings. You have enough material to fill several pages. The state of the Admiralty. Conversations at the dry dock. Maybe a paragraph about your favorite tea shop, just in case the recipient is ever in town. It's the easiest and the hardest report you've ever written. That's true. Since it's the only one. Since it's the first one. Anyway. Grab some more crew. And... Grimtooth and Fang Travel Enterprises. Fallen London has a shaky relationship with dirigibles. Funds came up short to construct the first prototypes, and the second wave, picked up later by amateur inventors, remained small, unstable things, cobbled together from pieces of old designs and liable to crash if not perfectly executed. Fun times. Even so, a market for aerial adventures has remained, which those few daring enough to pilot the craft have capitalized on. Of more immediate use to London is Esau's Ladder, an enormous twinned grid of steady, and sometimes alarmingly unsteady, rungs lowered down by sympathetic surfacers. It is London's direct link to the world above, allowing a steady flow of contact, if not commerce. Fancy that. A way up to the surface, here in London, set up by sympathetic surfacers. That's a fun little world-building detail. We can charter a dirigible to New Newgate Prison. Return ticket is included. Meals are not. Charter a dirigible to Worm's Mouth. It is said that this port can only be found by those who already know where it is. More grounded in reality, you suspect, is the notion that the company's pilots are unable or unwilling to make the journey. You will have to fly this one out yourself. Somehow I need to see Worm's Mouth in order to go to Worm's Mouth. Funny. We'll see how that pans out. Anyway, got the old provisions. We've got ye old debugger's shop, because really, we're just here for the stories. Yeah, in case you want to raise all your stats but for 1 echo apiece, or lower them, for that matter, for fun, or, as the name implies, for debugging. There are some, well... Or if you, like me, disagree with some of the balancing decisions that the original game made, but we'll get into that when we first retire or die. And Moolah and the Fulgent Impeller, if you want to grab that right at the start. You can't actually get the Fulgent Impeller in this mod aside from here. There are other engine choices, but never mind that. Bunch of the usual. Mostly the usual, but with a couple of additions. Cannonballs, 1 echo, torpedo components. Biological payload will explode nastily over your foes. Do not drink. Noted. That's for the ones that do little hull damage, but a fair bit of life damage and a fair bit of crew damage. Some say it's a matter of time before this form of combat becomes illegal. Some can go suck a lemon. An outdated delivery system for a very modern payload. Wow, 4 hull damage. The idea, I imagine, being you weaken them down to half hull with something else and then switch to this. Because, yeah, crew damage mechanics in the original game, not exactly, not even half-baked, really. Maybe quarter-baked if we're generous. You can only even damage crew if they're at half hull already, and at that point you're probably just going to destroy it. Signals of Virtue. This one's new. Trade in things that can't be found anywhere. Doesn't seem like a very good business model. Well, this is our dedicated spoilers section. I won't be showing you any of this. Let's just pick up... maybe 20 echoes worth of cannonballs. 50 isn't really that much, but oh well. And... let me do some quick calculations to figure out how much fuel and supply, what sort of ratio of fuel and supplies we'll need. We'll need about 80% more fuel. 11 fuel and 6 supplies. That's not exactly right, but it's very close. It's only off by about 2%, so close enough. Okay. At last, let's sail on our maiden voyage. Look at that ship just nip along. That. Admiralty. Evening? Going to go south, of course, but we're gonna swing around. Well, no. Let's see. Well, should we swing a little around, but we'll have to swing back hard. Ormond. Wait. Gonna see if we can find the old Magnanary. Yes, I know. Nah. Not in this section. Glug. Well, we'll see. A rancid sump of so-called land. A swampy, half-submerged atoll that no sane person would want to occupy. What a great start to our voyage, huh? The site of London's first attempt at colonization. Cut short when news returned to find no one else had wanted the place. Examine the nondescript shack. Maybe the settler who once lived here left some supplies. Nope. The door is not only locked, but surprisingly sturdy. Is that a sound inside? You strain your ears, but can hear nothing over the sloshing of a nearby sump. Fun. Nothing will interest the Admiralty here, but that hasn't stopped them paying before. A boring report. A boreal report, even. A boreal landscape with mushrooms instead of trees. Classic. Classic Nath. A nondescript shack, probably abandoned by the settler who tried to start a winery here. No one here. Not much more to mention than that. Enter the fungi forest. A London settler once tried to establish a mushroom winery here. From her abandonment, the putrefied plantation gave way to a fungi forest. Well, something maybe good came out of that at least. A wasted winery. Make way through gangrenous groves and corrupted copses. I can't imagine much but swill came out of this mushroom winery, but maybe it was different once. Not that different if it was abandoned, I suppose. Mushrooms the size of evergreens bloom in all directions. There are no delectable chanterelles. Their grotesque, fluid-spewing folds extend in every direction, decaying and feasting on one another in an endless cannibalistic cycle. The ground is a wobbling raft of interlaced shoots that breaks every dozen steps, sending one foot or the other plunging into dark, fetid waters. It's not great. Collect fungal water. It's practically worthless, unless you're looking to fertilize something. Follow your nose. Amongst the bitterness and decay, there's a sweet scent that permeates the air. Well, I have a 0% chance of success, so... fuck it. A swampy nowhere. In later retellings of this tale, you might claim that you trudged fruitlessly for hours. But in reality, there's only so much walking in circles through a foul-smelling bog that you can take. Turns out I can take a bit more. Let's go. Okay. It's not that you intended to wade through fungal waters for hours. It's simply that every fungal stalk in this godforsaken place looks the same. And despite giving up the search early, you couldn't find your way back. Aha! That was easy. Well, easy to the tune of 7 terror. The terrible source. What could be the cause of this fascinating scent? A hidden honey smuggling operation in the woods? The lure of some forgotten beast? No. Of course it's another bloody mushroom. But this one has something to say. Evening? Stab the bloated blemiarch. It disgusts you. This will lock you out of a quest line and confer no benefits whatsoever. Aside from satisfaction, I suppose. Pusses of inconsistent consistencies ooze out of the big blue blemigan's pores. The sight and smell alone almost make you regret coming closer, but so far the bulging boletus appears benign. Hear out the bloated blemiarch. Here. Closer. A putrid plea. My beloved contracted someone. Something. To spread my children apart across the sea. What you love, you must set free, said she. I disagree. Bring us back together. No one lives forever. Debatable. I would like to see all my family again. A fountain of spores showers over you. Wherever you think my children roam, bring them this scent and they'll long to come home. That rhymes. Travel to distant ports and place fungal water and supplies to make a blemigan trap. Ha ha ha. You see, it's the reverse of that whole storyline from the original history. So that did happen. He remembers it happening. That whole storyline from the original Sunless Sea? That raises a lot of questions. Anyway, for the record, there are exactly 21 valid ports to do that in, and I have a list of which ones, which will save me a lot of trouble on supplies. Anyway, away to breathable air. Increasingly distant burbles. You're sure at first not to look too hurried. Then, when another waft hits you, you feel free to look as hurried as you like. Unfortunately, you remember the way. Fungal water, huh? Well... Don't have much room, but I'm sure I can spare some cargo space. Let's grab... Spore-filled swill. The swirled firkin almost sinks in the muck. It takes real effort to pull it back out of the black depths. This may be more trouble than it's worth. Perhaps. Of course, even if I don't encounter any of the ports where I can do that, there is actually another use for it. But never mind that. Let's go. Oh shit. Clockwork Dreadnought over here? Da. See ya. Huh? Your crew can bear the stink no longer. It infects their clothes, their meals, their very waves. It's not hard to trace it back to one cabin. Order the burly twins off your ship. There are some things one just doesn't do in an enclosed space. Or do nothing. You are obligated to see passengers through to their final destination, no matter the cost. And there will be a cost. Yep, a couple points of terror. Foul attitudes. No one is pleased. The retching of your crew keeps you up at night. Yeah, that'll keep happening every so often. As long as I have them on my ship. And it will be a while before I can get them off my ship. Oh well. It's not that inconvenient. Ooh, is that? What is that? Oh, is that the old Magnanary? No, it's Laneax Retreat. Damn. Walter's Overture. A busy region for old and young alike. Indeed. Does that mean a certain factory is nearby? General waiting area. For the waiting area for the generals. Home to the dying and those who hope not to be. True death is hard to achieve on the Z, but injury and illness are still commonplace. Perhaps more commonplace than normal. The sick congregate here in large numbers from all corners of the Neath, thronging the streets with waiting patients. A cacophony of coughs and moans hazes over the whole island. Is this on the list? Yes! Set a Blummigan trap then. Are there Blummigans here? Yes, there are. A Blummigan. It's hard to find a place for a barrel that won't be used as a makeshift toilet, or worse, expelled. But find a place you do, and in time are rewarded with a sniffling Blummigan, a strip of cloth wrapped around its one drooping tendril. Here we go. Docile Blummigan. It has claws, it has a fierce double beak, but just now it seems disinclined to use them. What does that mean, double beak? Yeah, whatever. Don't think we have anything else to do here besides... Oh yeah, some of these ports don't have a real shop of their own. They just have harbor provisioners. Basically just a few basics for a hefty surcharge, like cannonballs for twice the price. It's the only way to restock on cannonballs outside of London. Anyway, compose a port report. You're careful not to touch anyone. Dangerous waiting. Diseases run rampant on the island. Those who arrive with a broken arm may find themselves leaving with their lungs full of fluid and their eyes swollen shut, pushed to the back of the queue if they wish to be examined again. Patients vastly outnumber the doctors, and more arrive every day. If you don't like it, there's always the resort. Seems to be the rallying cry on both sides. Right, the Zyme Resort. It's not a prison, you're repeatedly assured. That would be barbaric. It's simply that those who arrive are not permitted to leave. Oh yes. Let's see, take a ferry to Brightland. Most of the doctors live on one of the nearby islands, a convenient distance away. Well, let's go for that, why not? Because it'll put us down to 39, which is a good number. A quick journey. Ferries constantly pass back and forth between the two islands. You have no trouble catching one and head across, the current carrying you quickly to the healer's domain. Can I have a doctor look over our crew? Ooh! Engage an officer, the gregarious occultist. Our meeting was predestined by the gods, Captain. By their will, I will follow you. The gregarious occultist is a surgeon who increases hearts and pages. Well, we could use one of those. And his quest line is, well, this is also where you can get one of the legacy items, the scented death mask, if we collect every disease. This is not a good place to have our diseases gotten rid of. There are other methods to do that. Welcome aboard. Wait, really? I'm actually hired? Yes! Finally, it worked! It worked! Oh, you say that to all the captains, do you? Anyway, return to the mainland. A doctor was headed that way anyhow. A troubled journey. The currents work against the trip back to Lanak's retreat, slowing and rocking the boat until you're all thoroughly seasick. You wonder aloud how doctors are expected to make it to their patients on time, but your question is ignored. They aren't. Anyway. The Z inspires fear in some, and fervor in others. Hearts and pages. I think we'll wait to do the dining until we're in a position to not potentially starve to death. You know how it is. Eh? You got something for me? Can't be worse than this, Will. Ask him what he wants from life. Why did the fastidious gourmet choose to go to Z? Search for real flavor. You think Londoners owe good food? Bah! I long for real food. Proper, high society stuff. And wine, Captain. Real wine. Okay then. See what I can do, I suppose. Hello. Ah, Lifeberg. Or rather, debt collector. Like I said, distrust everything you know about the way things ought to be. Things are very different here. Castle Kisamoto, a shogunate stronghold, older than London. From somewhere within, no matter the hour, faint music can be heard. Sail around the castle. Zail around the castle, even. There must be weakness, surely. Haunting strange. Not that haunting, considering a reduced terror. Guards keep their cannons trained on your ship as you slowly circle the island. The walls appear utterly impregnable from all angles. All the while, a tune of something soothing drifts down from above. Memory of distant shores, a precious recollection. Such things make voyages worthwhile. Compile a port report. It's unlikely to be eventful. As always, the waters here are calm and quiet. No one visits, not even other shogunate ships. The castle stands alone. If only you could see inside. But no, not today, leastwise. I could take you. But I'm gonna need to get over this way so that I don't run into the island while I'm taking you. I've got 50, that's 12 to 6, 10 to 14. Yeah, that should be about enough. I mean, I'll definitely be running a bit low, but I've gotten a lot better at this whole Z-Beast hunting business since last you saw me. I could do this quicker if I was willing to say fuck it to the whole stealth, but since I know how to dodge this guy, but risky business with an engine this slow. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. No sense risking everything when I can just bleed you dry, slow and steady. Means gaining a fair bit of terror, admittedly. Ooh. Oh, oh, too slow. I think I turn the light on while he's running away. Yeah, there we go. I fucking called it that he'd turn and run. Do I? Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Oh fuck. Thought you'd die there. Bit of a miscalculation, but never fucking punished. And there we go. And you've destroyed a debt collector. You probably shouldn't have done this. Silver's chief servants, frozen in the same unmelting ice as his palace, seek out those who owe a debt. Of money, conventionally, but of gratitude with increasing frequency. And indeed, there's far more gold that twinkles below its surface. We can grab as much as you can. It may not be the most righteous thing, but Silver would rather his treasures fall to you than to the bottom of the Z, or record any observations. Once you've gathered enough, you may learn something. Those are both new ones, really. But, well, we'll see more of this later. Godly treasures. It's mostly gold. Silver likes gold. You come away with enough to curl up atop like a worm yourself. 187 echoes, and a hunting trophy. I think all ZBs give a hunting trophy in this, which makes sense. And some terror. I don't think all of them give terror, but no, you know. No supplies and fuel like the lifebergs give, which is a shame because I could use some of that, but hey. Moolah. Moolah is nice. Did I pass the Infernal Canal? I might have. I might have done. Oh! No. Here we go. Uh-oh. Do you have me? Shit. You have me. Shit! Fuck. Okay then, it's on, fucker. I haven't gotten any better at dealing with enemy ships, but that's because I was already damn fine at that. Why are you stationary? What are you doing? Here we go. I don't even need to turn my light off for this, actually, but it's not very useful. There we go. Another perfect victory. And look, loot and scuttle her. Pretty normal stuff. She's a vile old vessel, and these aren't safe. Take what you can and move on, or record any observations. That's the second time that's showed up. But first, here we go. Lean pickings. These pinnaces don't sail far from their hidden harbors. They're whistling back of the hold, like a pirate flag. Yo ho ho and a bottle of fine mushroom wine. These we are distinguished down here. Blast it. Yes, all ships, or at least nearly all ships, give a various different flags. And what are the flags for? Well, they're equipment items for the bridge slot, giving little stat boosts, kind of like the this version's equivalent of the prow lamp line of upgrades, but much more interesting. And if you don't have need of them, well, there are ways of offloading, let's say. The Infernal Canal staging area. Gate by gate, the canal descends to a sea more sunless, and the city of Dis. Yep, no more Cumaean Canal heading up to the surface. Oh no. We're heading down now. Gather information for a port report. Many ships pass this way, but perhaps you'll pick up something they missed. Business as usual. Whatever that means. Here small ships congregate, loading up on coal to fuel trade all across the sea. Mostly Londoners, but there are a healthy mix of Shogunate and Umwelt ships as well, plus the occasional design that you don't recognize. Perhaps the Admiralty will. Okay. Let's check it out then. The coils of the earth. The mine here was once level with the sea, until excavations inevitably began to trace a path downward. The older tunnels were expanded into canals, while pockets of coal led the miners ever deeper until a new settlement was necessitated. Like breadcrumbs in stone, a sailor mutters as the gates slam shut. "'Tain't right. Where is it leading us? Apparently not to hell. Are there even any devils in this history at all? Because it sounds like Infernal Canal might be a euphemism. I wouldn't mind this timeline doing away with them. Certainly. Here we are in Dis. Not that, Dis. There's barely enough room to breathe, let alone move down here in the dark. Thick, black smog that glitters as it floats by, chokes the air. The miners seem largely unaffected by it, hauling coal and the occasional shipment of jade up to the ships that wait on the narrow dock. All around, you expected mines, but no, there is only one, tunneling ever downward through an inconceivably perfect vein of coal and jewels. Inconceivably perfect vein of coal and jewels, huh? Fancy that. Ooh. Speaking of perfect, a crate of fuel for 6 echoes. Yes, please. That's even better than the old Iron Republic prices. By a sizable margin. Ooh. Engage an officer, the Noxious Butcher. Hey you! Your crew need feeding? I can do that. Their heads need smashing? I can do that too. The Noxious Butcher is a cook who increases hearts, irons, and veils. Welcome aboard! I won't say no to officers in general. That's right, we're in business now. So pay up and help me shift these cuts. Thankfully, her food is far less foul than her attitude. Ha! Drop off your remarkably clean miner. Hold up. Something's the matter. The mine is closed. Closer to the mine, it's possible to hear sounds of violence. Miners are shouting and carrying signs, none of which are legible from smog, even at close range. Metal chains and men in suits bar the way further down the tunnel. The remarkably clean miner curses. I was afraid this would happen. I'll never hear the end of it if I don't get my wages to send back home. Apparently there's some kerfuffle going on about the mine. Maybe in your best interest to get to the bottom of this. Oh, joy. Speak to the remarkably clean miner. Does he have any insight into the cause of this? Trust me, I know these things. You ask me, it's all due to the pressure from the shogunate. He taps the side of his nose knowingly. The nose knows, after all. We've been flooding the market with cheap jade this past year. They want to slow us down so they can hoard it for themselves. Never mind that we fuel half their ships in the process. Cheap jade, indeed. There is a ludicrously complex trade route that starts here, trading echoes for jade. But it requires 7 different stops along the way, being at the end of one officer's storyline and at an advanced point in a second officer's storyline, and having a particular thing that you can only unlock by having one of your previous captains die in a certain way. In theory, it's a huge amount of profit, like 12, multiplying your initial investment by 12 times, but holy shit is it convoluted. Surely there are better ways. But it is funny. I'm definitely going to, at some point in like 50,000 episodes, show it to you. Anyway, speak to a furious worker. If you can pry one away from their organized rioting, that is. Fireless fury. All this over coffee! The worker screams into your alarmed face. Shipment never arrived, so they shut the whole place down until it gets here. Lousy managers and their lousy excuses. Speak to an umbral foreman. They're staying steadfast against the tide of workers, but perhaps the ship's captain will receive different treatment. Thanks, Silver. Someone sensible. Listen, he tells you in between coughs. Between you and me, there's been disappearances down in the mines. Too many to be accounted for. We can handle a minor riot while we figure this out, but if word gets out, we could face a permanent strike. Be on your way. You've heard enough. So a coalition of 3 different catastrophes, then. If they're all correct. A clear course of action. In order for the mine to reopen, decisive action must be undertaken. Not only for the sake of the miners, but the entire Untersee. Yup. Need to solve all 3 of them. But at the moment, we can't really do any of those. Well, we can donate crew, but we'll be limping back to London if we do. Anyway, while we're here, we might as well grab 10 crates of fuel. It costs 2 fuel to go back and forth, so that cuts slightly into my profits, but 8 fuel for 60 echoes is still a damn fine price. Anyway, let's go. Oh, right, we should equip this. For 1 additional iron. Should probably keep that open. Okay. Shit. I really need to get more supplies. I was hoping that pirate ship would have some. Oh well. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Whew. Glad we didn't crash there. That's always a risk. This one is normal, I'm pretty sure. Here's the replacement for the Iron Republic. The Arms of the Machine. Possibly humanity's greatest creation, if anyone can figure out what it does. Sealed warehouses surround you on all sides. The engine roars from within them, muffled by steel walls. Sections of the ground rumble underfoot. Brown sludge drips out of overflow pipes and into the sea. There are other ships in the harbor. But not a soul can be seen. It's remarkably still for a place so loud. Try a random door. What precisely is the machine doing down there? Locked everywhere. You try first what appears to be a main entrance, then various side doors. All are securely locked from the inside. Even the windows, or what few crevices could fit that definition, are barred shut. If you want to find a way inside, you'll need help. Don't think there's... Nope, not on the list. All seems calm at the very least. Facts and speculation. What little of it you understand, you stretch to fill the page. Write about the gentle curves of exposed piping, the distant heat of underground fires, the various sounds and rumbles of progress unseen. Ah yes, the I need to fill so-and-so number of pages in my essay method. The machine is alive and working. That much you can guarantee. What exactly it's for still eludes you. Let's see. I can buy supplies with 2 fuel. That's a pretty good price, actually. 12 echoes, effectively. I should have stocked up on more fuel. Oh well. Carboy of Primordial Shrieks. I have no idea what I'd use those for. Anyway. Nor chess pieces. What? Anyway. Let me just grab... that seems reasonable. Well, not much else to do here. I'll grab 1 chess piece, since it doesn't use up hold space. Oh, I'd rather not get involved in that at the moment, since I'm rather low on cannonballs. I'd also rather not get involved in that, but looks like I'm gonna have to. Unless I can skirt around it. Ooh. Sunshade Redoubt, that away. Also, Castle Crummish. Cool. A fallen fish. A wind whips up. A sudden squall peppers the deck. In the midst of it, something heavy and black collides with a sailor's skull. Not a rock. An eyeless fish lies limply on the deck. Sleeth lost his lunch, the unfortunate crewman groans. Explains the weather. Indeed. We can keep the fish. The hunger of the roof-dwelling worm is said to be unimaginable. Keep this, so that you might one day return it. Or possibly sell it, or use it for some other purpose. Or dispose of the fish, worm or no, it's bothering your crew, give it to the waves. Or eat the fish yourself. Tell the crew you're filling Sleeth's belly by proxy. They just might buy it. Let's keep it. Why not? You never know when you might need a fish. A pickled offering. Your crew are careful in their bottling of the great thing, as though it were a piece of the worm itself. Maybe it is, I don't know. Gods of the sea, Sleet, Shade, and Silver. Strange catch, and Sleet's attention. Cool. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I have it. Castle Crummish, where the future crashes down upon the past. Whatever that means. A mighty stronghold, or at least part of one. It's difficult to tell whether the place is falling apart or was never fully built. Attempt to enter the keep. There's nothing apparent that would prevent you from doing this. You have a bad feeling about this. You're a few steps from the dock when it begins to gnaw at you. It feels like guilt, like dread, like the dawning horror of having forgotten something important. Whatever is up there can't be worth this. Can't it? I guess we don't have the hearts. Here's Sunshade Redoubt, what was, in another history, called the Grand Geode, as you can imagine. Before we go there, I'd like to visit something a little further south. If this stupid clockwork dreadnought would fuck off. Why are you just spinning in circles, you idiot? There you are, the dusk machine, apparently. How's it hanging, old bird? Still the sun, the sun, the sun? Yeah. Alright. Let's go. Before our terror rapidly rises any further. Despite everything, it's still itself, more or less. Sunshade Redoubt, a bronze-rimmed holdfast, glowing with ticking souls interlinked. Maybe we'll get some answers here. Next time. So until then, I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave a nasty comment in the comment section down below. Fuck you all so much for watching, and so long, suckers.
You're gonna be okay, kid.